Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Well, dear students, today we are going to start with the comprehension section of chapter number 3, and that is the income tax man. And the first question that we have here is, what is the author's first impression of the visitor? So here we have to see who was the visitor and what was the author's first impression. So let us start with the answer. So we may start from the question itself. The author's first impression of the visitor, that you have seen that we have started the answer from the question itself, is that, and as it is starting in the present tense, so we have to write the answer in the present tense as well, that he is friendly and honest businessman. So that was his first impression. But when the man introduces himself as an assessor, actually the writer is not aware of this term, so the author understands and assumes that he actually runs a shop. And we may write that he finds the visitor very polite, very confident, and sociable. And that is how the writer is curious to know more about his mysterious profession. And the writer is actually unaware that the man is actually a tax officer. So, dear students, you are required to write the answer in at least 40 words, and you need to write to the point and in correct manner so that you may get the full mark. So that is how you need to respond to the first question. The question is, do the opening lines of the unit contain any hidden implication? Describe briefly. Implication mean something which is hidden inside. So we may start again with the question, and we have said yes. The opening lines, that means the way the chapter starts. Hint, that means they give us a hint or clue at the humorous misunderstanding. That means the writer was not able to understand the man correctly. That forms the core of the story. Core of the story means which actually is the story. So the author, we may continue, the author's ignorance of the term, well, actually he was unaware of the term assessor, actually that actually contributed to the story. That foreshadows, that means actually give us the humor, irony and confusion as well, because he was not aware that will follow. So whatever followed, I believe we have always done with the story. So Mark Twain, or Twain, that is the name of the writer, very cleverly sets up. That means he has given us a very interesting account. Sets up the scene to show how human vanity, that means how we, and another thing that is very important, that is the human curiosity, can lead to well, we may say embarrassment. Using light humor, because he is himself the victim of the situation, to expose the authors mistaken belief that the visitor is a shopkeeper. So that is how, dear students, we need to write the answer to this very question. Right, dear students, the third question is, why did he start asking the stranger about his business? So he's the same assessor whom he is talking to. So we may start our answer by saying the author began. Now here actually we have the question in the past, so we have to write the answer in the past tense. Began asking questions because he was curious and also we may say suspicious, that means doubtful, about the visitors' mysterious. It was mysterious to the writer because he did not know what actually an assessor does. So we may continue by saying that he wanted to find out what kind of business the man was in, and he was assuming or thinking that he was a kind of merchant or trader. So we may continue. Actually, the author tried to be clever by talking about his own income first, hoping that the stranger would reveal his business because he was being friendly, and or he may find writer a competitor and he would reveal his business. So that is how we may complete the answer to this very question, dear students. Right, dear student, the question number 4 is the author against paying taxes or just criticizing people who do not pay taxes? So let us start answer to this very question. We may say the author is not against paying taxes because I believe it is responsibility of every citizen. But he is criticizing the people, rather the absurd complexity of the tax system, we may say, and obviously, and the people who avoid the tax or it dishonestly. That means he is not against the tax paying taxes, but the system that is making him a little confused, and the people obviously who are stealing in the tax. Okay, we may continue through humor. The writer mocks, that means he's making fun of both the bureaucratic procedures of tax collection and the clever tricks used by citizens to escape or to hide their taxes. So the author's reaction to the tax form reflects confusion, frustration, and irony rather than rebellion against. That means he is not against this tax paying taxes, but the way the tax system is working, he is mocking at that. Question number 5, dear students, is why did the author call his cook and say, "Hold me while I faint"? Faint actually means to go unconscious. So we may start writing this question. Right, we are starting from what the writer said. He said this humorously. After realizing that the envelope, well, that is the envelope given by the assessor, given by the visitor that actually contained tax form, because he has boasted too, and it was not a business proposal or object. So that is why he called the book. Well, we may continue with the answer by saying the long list of questions about his income shocked him, and he was feeling tricked and embarrassed for boasting. Actually, he was himself boasting about all these things about his earnings. So that is why he told dramatically to the cook to hold him while he fainted, and he was expressing his shock at being deceived. That means he was tricked or deceived so easily. So that is why he is saying this line. Right, dear students. The sixth question is, in what way was the author able to save income tax? So we may start by saying that the author took help from a wealthy friend, and we're talking about the friend who was expert, who was skilled or who was expert in tax avoidance. That means he knows how to avoid the heavy tax. So we may continue that this friend actually is very expert. So he cleverly filled out the taxes and by listing numerous imaginary losses as he knows and expenses such as rent, repairs, floods, fires, and education costs. So after all this deduction, the government owed the author money instead of him owing taxes. That means in the end he did not owe anything to the government, but government actually was in a place to pay him. So he ended up paying only $250 on an income of $250,000. So that is how he was able to save taxes. Question 7, what did the actually we are talking about the envelope which was given by the assessor. So we may write that envelope contained a lengthy income tax form filled out filled with complicated very interesting questions, and obviously the assessor was interested in knowing about the author's income, property, and personal expenses. So we are talking about that form. We may continue that actually it was not a business document as the author expected, but an official form which was meant to calculate his tax payment. So the writer was very shocked and embarrassed that when he realized he had been tricked by the polite visitor who was the tax assessor. The question number 8, dear student, is how was the author able to save income tax? So we may start writing that author managed to save income tax with the help of a rich and experienced, who was experienced in tax affairs, man who knew how to exploit, that means how to change the tax So there are rules, and he knew them very well. So we may continue by writing that by showing numerous state losses, that is not there actually, like property damages, repairs, and litigation. So the author reduced his taxable income drastically. That means too much. Eventually, finally, his total payable tax was only in a tiny fraction of his actual income, on paper, turning him from rich to poor. And we said on paper. So that is how, dear students, we need to write to this answer. Question number 9, the last of our question. This is a question about the very best of the rich men of the city. That means the writer again is saying the very best. That means who are very rich of the rich men of city are, that means how the writer is describing them as cunning, that means they are clever, and also dishonest, because individuals who use certain tricks to avoid paying taxes. So on the surface, they are very rich people, respectable people, but actually they are dishonest. So we may continue by saying they appear respectable in society, but actually they exploit the legal loopholes or the weaknesses to reduce their tax dues. So Mark Twain uses irony to show that such men are often admired for their cleverness, even though their actions reflect moral weaknesses and social hypocrisy rather than the genuine integrity. So that is how, dear students, we have come to the end of this section of our lesson. I hope that by understanding the answers to the questions, you'll be able to write. I will advise that you should practice it and try to write it in your own words, but write it completely and in a correct language. So thank you very much, dear students, for today's session.